Your destiny is not missing, it's hidden. And the reason your life feels delayed is because the key has been kept from you until now. Today, you will discover the God-given key that unlocks what heaven already planned for you. Before you ever took your first breath, before your name was spoken by human lips, before the world even knew you existed, your destiny was already written. You are not here by accident. You are not the result of coincidence, luck, or random events. Your life is not a mistake that somehow slipped through the cracks of creation. You were intentionally designed, carefully formed, and divinely sent. Long before your body existed, your soul was known. Long before you faced struggle, heaven already prepared strength. Long before you felt lost, a path was already marked for you. Most people believe destiny is something you chase, but the truth is, destiny is something you awaken to. Your purpose was placed inside you like a seed. A seed does not shout. A seed does not rush. A seed waits until the right time to rise. That is why some people feel an emptiness they cannot explain. They succeed, yet feel unfulfilled. They are busy, yet feel restless. They achieve, yet still sense, there must be more. That feeling is not confusion, it is memory. Your soul remembers what it was sent here to do. Inside you is a calling that refuses to be silenced. Inside you is an assignment that keeps pulling you forward, even when you don't understand why. Inside you is a destiny that will not leave you alone. You were not born merely to survive. You were born to become. Your talents are not random. Your personality is not accidental. Your passions are not meaningless. Everything about you is intentional. Even the things you dislike about yourself. Even the struggles you wish you could erase. Even the chapters you try to forget. They are all connected to the destiny written over your life. Some people are born with leadership in their spirit. Some are born with compassion that feels almost painful. Some are born with wisdom beyond their years. Some are born with a fire that refuses to be extinguished. Why? Because destiny leaves fingerprints. But here is the tragedy. Most people live their entire lives without discovering what they were created for. They follow expectations instead of calling. They follow fear instead of faith. They follow comfort instead of conviction. And slowly, the voice of destiny grows quiet. Not because destiny is gone, but because it is ignored. You were not created to blend in. You were not created to live small. You were not created to merely exist between birth and death. You were created on purpose, for a purpose. And when you begin to understand this truth, something changes inside you. You stop asking, "Why is my life so difficult?" And you begin asking, "What is my life preparing me for?" Because destiny always comes with responsibility. And responsibility always requires growth. Which leads us to the second truth. One of the greatest lies people believe is this: if it hasn't happened yet, it means it's not meant for me. But delay does not mean denial. Silence does not mean absence. Waiting does not mean rejection. Sometimes delay is protection. Sometimes delay is training. Sometimes delay is mercy. If destiny arrived before you were ready, it would destroy you instead of blessing you. Think about it. If strength comes before wisdom, it creates pride. If success comes before character, it creates collapse. If blessing comes before maturity, it becomes a burden. That is why preparation often feels painful. You wonder why others advance faster. You question why doors seem closed. You feel overlooked, forgotten, or left behind. But heaven is not ignoring you. Heaven is building you. The delay you hate is shaping the strength you will need. Every season of waiting stretches your faith. Every closed door refines your patience. Every setback teaches you endurance. You may feel like nothing is happening, But in the unseen realm, everything is happening. Roots grow before fruit appears. Foundations are laid before buildings rise. Strength is forged before responsibility is released. Delay teaches you humility. Delay teaches you trust. Delay teaches you dependence on something greater than yourself. And most importantly, delay removes what cannot go with you into your destiny. Some relationships cannot follow you. Some habits cannot survive the next level. Some mindsets must be broken before you advance. If everything came quickly, you would never change. And destiny requires transformation. Many people ask, why am I struggling so much? But a better question is, what is this struggle preparing me to carry? Because your future will demand more from you than your present ever has. The weight of destiny is heavy, and only those who are prepared can sustain it. That is why the waiting season feels lonely. That is why it feels misunderstood. That is why it feels like no one sees your effort. But delay is not punishment. Delay is refinement. Gold is not rushed out of fire. Diamonds are not formed in comfort. And destiny is not activated in ease. If you are waiting right now, if you feel stuck right now, if you feel like your life is on pause, listen carefully. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not failing. You are being prepared. There is a version of you that must exist before destiny can manifest. A stronger version, a wiser version, a more faithful version. And when preparation is complete, acceleration is sudden. What feels slow for years can change in a moment. One decision, one act of obedience, one shift in faith. Suddenly, doors open. Suddenly, clarity comes. Suddenly, everything makes sense. And you will look back and realize every delay was necessary. Every tear had purpose. Every waiting season was working for you, not against you. So do not quit in the waiting. Do not lose faith in the silence. Do not abandon hope in the delay, because destiny is closer than you think. And when the time comes, nothing will be able to stop what was written for you before you were born. Many people believe destiny is unlocked by effort alone. They push harder. They work longer. They sacrifice more. They exhaust themselves trying to force doors open. But destiny is not unlocked by struggle alone. It is unlocked by alignment. You can run fast in the wrong direction and still end up lost. You can work tirelessly and still feel empty. You can achieve much and still miss what you were created for. Because effort without alignment leads to burnout. But alignment with purpose creates momentum. When your life is aligned, things begin to flow instead of fight you. Opportunities meet you halfway. Clarity replaces confusion. Peace accompanies progress. Alignment means your actions match your calling. Your values match your decisions. Your faith matches your direction. It is the moment when what you do on the outside agrees with who you are on the inside. Many people ask, why is everything so hard? But the real question is, am I aligned with what I was created to do? Because when alignment is missing, everything feels heavy, decisions feel forced, progress feels slow, life feels resistant. But when alignment is restored, effort becomes lighter. That does not mean there is no work. It means the work carries purpose. You stop chasing what drains you. You stop proving yourself to people who cannot see you. You stop forcing outcomes that were never meant for you. And instead, you begin listening. Alignment begins with stillness. It begins with humility. It begins when you stop asking, what do I want? And start asking, what was I created for? Often, the hidden key is not something new you must add. It is something old you must remove. Wrong motives, wrong priorities, wrong attachments, wrong expectations. Sometimes destiny does not move forward because you are carrying what cannot go with you. Alignment requires surrender. Surrender is not weakness. Surrender is intelligence. It is recognizing that your vision is limited, but divine vision is complete. It is trusting that guidance sees what you cannot see. When alignment happens, doors open that effort could never force. People appear at the right time. Resources show up unexpectedly. Paths reveal themselves naturally. That is why some people struggle endlessly while others seem to flow forward. The difference is not talent. The difference is not luck. The difference is alignment. When you align with your purpose, even resistance serves you. Even obstacles teach you. Even detours redirect you correctly. And suddenly, life begins to cooperate. But alignment alone is not enough. Because even when destiny calls, there is one force that can still stop you. Fear is subtle. It rarely announces itself openly. It disguises itself as logic, caution, and reason. Fear says, now is not the right time. Fear says, you're not ready yet. Fear says, what if you fail? Fear says, what will people think? And slowly, destiny is delayed. Fear does not always stop you with terror. Often, it stops you with comfort. It convinces you to stay where you are. It makes safety feel wiser than obedience. It makes familiarity feel better than purpose. Fear tells you to wait for certainty before moving. But destiny requires faith before clarity. Many people miss their calling not because they lack ability, but because they listen to fear more than conviction. Fear builds a prison inside the mind, and the door is unlocked, but you believe it is closed. Fear keeps you rehearsing worst-case scenarios. Fear magnifies risk and minimizes reward. Fear keeps you focused on what you might lose instead of what you are meant to gain. And the most dangerous part, fear feels responsible. It sounds wise, it sounds mature, it sounds practical. But fear never leads to fulfillment. Every great transformation requires courage. Every calling requires a step into uncertainty. Every destiny requires risk. You cannot reach a new level while clinging to old safety. Fear asks for guarantees. Faith moves without them. Fear demands proof. Faith trusts the unseen. Fear asks, what if it doesn't work? Faith asks, what if this is what I was born for? Fear keeps destiny theoretical. Faith makes it real. The moment you obey despite fear, something shifts. Confidence grows. Clarity increases. Momentum begins. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is movement in spite of it. Fear shrinks when confronted. It loses power when challenged. It fades when ignored. Every step forward weakens fear's voice. Every act of obedience strengthens your spirit. And here is the truth many never realize. Fear does not leave on its own. It must be replaced. Replaced with trust. Replaced with purpose. Replaced with vision. When your vision becomes bigger than your fear, destiny accelerates. That is why comfort is so dangerous. Comfort dulls urgency. Comfort silences conviction. Comfort numbs calling. Destiny never grows in comfort zones. If you feel restless, if you feel unsettled, if you feel an inner push you cannot explain, that is not anxiety. That is calling. And fear will try to convince you to ignore it. But the cost of ignoring destiny is always greater than the risk of pursuing it. Regret lasts longer than fear. Unlived purpose leaves deeper wounds than failure ever could. When you finally move, when you finally say yes, when you finally step forward, fear does not disappear, but it stops controlling you. And that is when destiny begins to unfold. Not because you felt ready, but because you trusted more than you feared. Many people believe guidance comes only through loud signs, dramatic moments, or unmistakable miracles. They wait for a voice from the sky. They wait for certainty without doubt. They wait for direction so clear that fear disappears. But guidance rarely arrives that way. Most of the time, Direction comes quietly. It comes as a gentle nudge you cannot explain. It comes as a thought that keeps returning no matter how much you ignore it. It comes as a restlessness that refuses to settle. It comes as an inner pull toward something you did not plan. That is how guidance works. It is subtle because it is meant to be chosen, not forced. The voice that leads destiny forward is not loud, it is persistent. You may try to silence it with distraction. You may try to drown it out with business. You may try to rationalize it away. But it keeps returning. That is not imagination. That is instruction. Inner promptings are not random feelings. They are invitations. An invitation to grow. An invitation to move. An invitation to trust. Often, the first sign of destiny is discomfort. You feel uneasy staying where you are. You feel disconnected from what once satisfied you. You feel drawn toward something unfamiliar, and fear immediately tries to label this as anxiety. But there is a difference. Anxiety pulls you inward and paralyzes you. Calling pulls you forward and challenges you. Inner promptings stretch you without breaking you. They push you toward meaning, not chaos. That is why ignoring them creates frustration. You can suppress a prompting for a while, but eventually it demands attention. The more you ignore it, the louder your dissatisfaction becomes, because your spirit recognizes what your mind resists. Guidance often comes in patterns, repeated ideas, recurring dreams, unexpected confirmations. Conversations that echo the same message. Nothing feels accidental. That is alignment trying to speak to you. But listening requires stillness. When life is too noisy, guidance becomes hard to hear. When your schedule is too crowded, clarity becomes rare. When your mind is constantly rushing, direction becomes blurred. That is why silence feels uncomfortable to many people. Because silence reveals truth, and truth demands response. Inner promptings do not always explain the full path. They only reveal the next step, because faith is built step by step. If you were shown everything at once, you would be overwhelmed. If you were given full certainty, trust would be unnecessary. So guidance arrives in pieces, a sense to start, a sense to stop, a sense to speak, a sense to wait. Each prompting is an invitation to obedience. And how you respond determines what comes next, which leads to the next truth. Obedience is one of the most misunderstood spiritual principles. Many think obedience means restriction. Many think it means loss of freedom. Many think it means giving up control. But obedience is not about limitation. It is about alignment. Obedience positions you where blessing can reach you. There are blessings that exist, but they are location-specific. There are breakthroughs prepared, but they require movement. There are doors ready, but they only open when you approach. Obedience is the act of moving before everything makes sense. It is saying yes without full clarity. It is stepping forward without guarantees. It is trusting direction more than comfort. And this is where most people hesitate. They want confirmation before obedience. They want certainty before action. They want security before faith. But obedience comes first. Clarity follows obedience. Provision follows obedience. Acceleration follows obedience. One obedient step can unlock years of waiting. Many delays are not because destiny is blocked, but because obedience is partial. You follow some promptings, but not the uncomfortable ones. You listen selectively. You obey where it feels safe. But hidden blessings are attached to uncomfortable obedience. The step you resist often carries the breakthrough you seek. Obedience stretches you beyond logic. It asks you to release what feels familiar. It invites you into trust rather than control. And control is the enemy of faith. You cannot hold tightly to certainty and still walk in obedience. Obedience requires surrender. Not surrender to weakness, but surrender to guidance that sees beyond your perspective. That is why obedience often feels risky. But risk is the birthplace of transformation. Every major shift begins with a decision that does not feel safe. The moment you obey, movement begins. You may not see immediate results. You may not feel instant reward. But something shifts internally. Confidence grows. Fear weakens. Trust deepens. Obedience aligns you with timing. And timing changes everything. Many blessings are not delayed because they are unprepared. They are delayed because the timing has not been activated. And timing is activated by obedience. You do not need to understand the entire plan. You only need to obey the next instruction. And with each obedient step, the path becomes clearer. Obedience creates momentum. What once felt impossible begins to feel inevitable. And often, blessings arrive in unexpected forms. New relationships, new opportunities, new clarity, new peace. Some blessings do not look like rewards. They look like redirection. But redirection is often rescue. Obedience may close one door to open a better one. It may end something to begin something greater. It may remove something to make room for what is next. That is why obedience requires trust more than understanding. And here is the truth many never realize. Disobedience always costs more than obedience ever will. The cost may not be immediate, but it is cumulative. Missed peace, missed growth, missed alignment. Obedience may feel uncomfortable now, but regret lasts far longer. When you obey, you step into flow. You step into purpose. You step into provision prepared ahead of time. And when obedience becomes a lifestyle, destiny accelerates. Not because you forced it, but because you aligned with it. Nothing in your life has been wasted. Not the pain, not the losses, not the disappointments, not the battles you never asked for. Every struggle you have faced is connected to what you were created to do. The very areas where you suffered the most often reveal the direction of your calling. What broke you shaped you. What wounded you trained you. What nearly destroyed you prepared you. Struggle is not evidence that you are off course. Often, it is confirmation that you are being trained for something meaningful. You did not survive what you survived by accident. Many people want purpose without pain, but purpose is forged in pressure. The lessons that stay with you longest are the ones learned through struggle. The wisdom that carries authority is the wisdom earned through endurance. That is why people who have suffered deeply often carry depth. They speak with compassion instead of theory. They understand pain instead of judging it. Your struggle gave you insight others do not have, and insight creates impact. What you had to overcome is often what you are meant to help others overcome. The pain that taught you resilience now gives you credibility. The darkness you navigated now gives you vision. The confusion you survived now gives you clarity. Your story carries medicine, but many people hide their wounds instead of understanding them. They see struggle as something to erase, instead of something to interpret. But destiny leaves clues in pain. Your sensitivity was born from what hurt you. Your strength was born from what tested you. Your compassion was born from what broke your heart. If you had not been through what you went through, you would not be equipped for what you are meant to do. That is why struggle often begins early. Some people carry responsibility before adulthood. Some face loss before stability. Some are forced to mature before their time. Not because life was unfair, but because destiny was preparing them early. What felt like survival training was actually calling preparation. Your struggle refined your voice. It sharpened your discernment. It trained your spirit. And here is the truth many avoid. Those chosen for greater impact often face deeper resistance, not because they are weak, but because what they carry matters. Pressure reveals purpose. When you stop resenting your struggle and start studying it, clarity begins to emerge. You begin to see patterns. You recognize themes. You notice how certain experiences repeat. That repetition is not coincidence. It is training. Your calling is hidden in what you overcame. And once you understand that, something powerful happens. Your pain no longer defines you, it equips you. Your past no longer chains you, it positions you. Which brings us to the final truth. Destiny does not respond to wishing. It responds to decision. Many people wait for confidence before acting. But confidence comes after commitment. Many wait to feel ready. But readiness is produced by movement. Destiny waits for your decision. The moment you decide to stop living in fear, things begin to shift. The moment you decide to trust instead of hesitate, momentum begins. The moment you decide to obey instead of delay, alignment happens. Indecision keeps destiny dormant. You can believe in purpose and still never activate it. If you refuse to decide, destiny respects choice. It will not force itself on you. It waits for your agreement. That is why change often feels instant once it begins. Years of waiting can be unlocked by one decision, one yes, one step, one act of courage. Suddenly, clarity appears. Suddenly, resources align. Suddenly, opportunities emerge, not because everything changed, but because you did. Decision creates direction. Direction creates momentum. Momentum creates manifestation. The greatest enemy of destiny is not failure, it is delay. Delay keeps you rehearsing the same fears. Delay keeps you circling the same ground. Delay keeps you living below what you know is possible. Decision breaks cycles. Even imperfect action moves destiny forward. You do not need to feel fearless. You need to feel committed. Fear does not disappear before destiny unfolds. It fades as you move. The moment you decide, you step into responsibility. And responsibility is power. You stop blaming circumstances. You stop waiting for permission. You stop asking for signs you already received. You become active instead of passive, and destiny responds to action. This does not mean life becomes easy. It means life becomes aligned. Resistance may still appear, but it no longer controls you. When you decide, you shift from being a victim of life to a participant in purpose. Your decision sends a signal. It declares readiness. And when readiness meets preparation, acceleration follows. What once took years can happen quickly. What once felt blocked can suddenly open. What once seemed distant can arrive. Because destiny was never waiting on circumstances. It was waiting on you. Your future is not created by chance. It is shaped by decisions. Small decisions made consistently shape large outcomes. You do not arrive at destiny by accident. You arrive by choice. And here is the final truth. You do not need to know how everything will work. You only need to decide to move. The path reveals itself to those who walk it. Destiny responds to courage, not certainty. And when you finally decide, not tomorrow, not someday, but now, something shifts inside you. Alignment locks in. Fear loosens its grip. Purpose awakens. And what was written long ago begins to unfold in real time.